The video you are about to see is the second in a series of 6 videos. These videos are a companion resource to the book Navigating Loss, a survival guide for the newly widowed. To order the book, visit an independent bookseller or Amazon.com. Hi, I'm Donna Marie Todd. I'm the author of Navigating Loss, a survival guide for the newly widowed. And welcome to the second video in a 6-part series. These videos are designed to walk with you as you recover from the death of your partner. My husband's death was a very traumatic event for me. Was it that way for you? Over the years that I have been working with other widowed people, I have heard hundreds and hundreds of stories, and death has been very traumatic for most of the widowed people I have worked with. I've heard stories of car crashes, heart attacks, suicides, hit and run accidents. I've even heard stories of people who died in mass shootings. I've also heard stories about partners who died very slow and painful deaths from cancers, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disease, and Lyme disease. The stories I've heard about death are as unique as the people who experienced them. And I don't know what your grief journey is like right now, because the way we grieve is as unique as our fingerprint. Our grief is unique, but what we each experience is a new beginning for us. The moment our partner took their last breath, our world changed forever. Your partner's death separated you from your old reality, and now you are left alone to face a new reality, that of a solo person. I don't know how it's been for you, but for me, my husband's death turned my world upside down. Forgive my childish drawings, but here's kind of what it looked like. One day, my husband and I were running a business together. We had a home together. We were rearing our teenage son together. And then he had a stroke and he died, and my world turned upside down. This was my new reality. Has it been that way for you? Do you feel like you're hanging upside down on some wild ride at a fair? Did your partner's death frighten you? And now, do you feel alone, even abandoned? You know what? That's a pretty normal reaction to something pretty horrible, actually. Then, as if my husband's death wasn't enough, these strange things called grief bursts started happening. My husband died in early November. And by the time the Christmas season rolled around, I was a mess. And my son had yet another evening commitment. I don't even remember now if it was Boy Scouts or marching band or church youth group. But I hadn't planned anything for supper because my brains had fallen out. And so I ended up at a fast food restaurant. And the drive-in line went around the block. So I thought, well, I'll just go inside and order. So the place was packed. Bad holiday music was blaring from those speakers on the ceiling, and the line was very long. And I ended up behind this man who smelled like stale beer and cigarettes. And he was wearing flannel reindeer pajamas and flip flops at 6 o'clock at night in a public place. And the clerk made a mistake with the person's order in front of us. And all of a sudden, he cursed at her. He made a really vulgar remark. And all of a sudden, I felt something happen. I got hot. I was nauseous. My heart clenched up tight like a fist. And I could feel tears welling up in my eyes. And then all of a sudden, they just started streaming down my face. And I started screaming at that man, "Why not you? Why didn't you have a stroke instead of my parent? And I was standing there crying, and everybody was staring at me. And I didn't know what was going to happen next. I didn't know if I was going to start cursing or if I was going to hit someone. So I just turned and ran out and screamed at the night sky, "Why not him? That man is a stroke waiting to happen. Why my parent? Why?" It was beyond embarrassing. My first grief burst scared me to death. I I was so ashamed that I couldn't control my emotions. It was frightening. But my first grief burst taught me that I needed to have a way to manage and deal with the intense emotions that I was feeling. That's when I discovered that working with your grief is the only way to move through it. Now, you'll meet people who will tell you that you can grieve for 3 days and then magically you'll feel better. You'll meet other people who will tell you that grief has 5 stages and that you can move through them one, two, three, four, five, and then everything will be all better. And when somebody tells you that, that's when you'll know that they have never done it. It would be great if grief had a clear beginning and an ending. If grief were linear, that would be great. If grief looked like this, that would be great. If you started here, right? And then you went there, wherever that is, and then it stopped. That would be great, wouldn't it? But really, that's not the way grief works. Grief is more like this. Some days you're up, some days you're down, and most days you're somewhere in between. When you're grieving the loss of your partner, grief hurts. And a grief container can help you feel sane. Now, a grief container is it's not an object. It's a time and a place that you set aside each day to work intentionally with your grief. The first thing you do is find a time of day when you're least likely to be interrupted. Then you find a place where you can be really comfortable, maybe a chair or a couch, usually not your bedroom. And then it's great to have some things in your area that you can work with as you process your grief. A journal and a pen are very helpful. Journaling is a great way to release emotion. You might want to have a box of tissues, a glass of water. Some of my clients have a CD player handy to listen to relaxing music. Others keep essential oils for aromatherapy. Oils like jetamansi and lavender and rosemary are all very calming to the nervous system. Using a grief container is helpful because when you lose your partner, you are hurting and it's not going to get better on its own. It's just like if you got a deep cut on your hand and you were bleeding all over the place, you wouldn't just wait for it to get better on its own. I mean, you would take care of it. You would clean it off. You would help it stop bleeding. You would put some ointment on the cut and bandage it. And then you would change the bandages every day until it got better. And that's what you're doing with your heart when you use a grief container. Using a grief container every day for 10 to 15 minutes, just relaxing into that space and allowing yourself to express in total safety the emotions that are inside of you from your partner's death. This is the way to heal. And it's the way to keep those embarrassing grief bursts, like the one I had in the fast food place, at bay. And as you work with your grief every day, not all of your memories will be sad ones. You'll discover very happy, joyful memories that you will want to take and enfold and hold in your heart forever. Learning to navigate life as a single person is a really big change. Change is hard under the best of circumstances. And because we're human, neuroscientists say that we have negative bias, which basically means that Our brains hold on to negative thoughts and emotions longer than happy ones because our brain's number one job is to keep us safe. But this negative bias makes it difficult for us to face change and to think of positive solutions. And it tends to make us think of change in an all or nothing kind of way, when really taking one change at a time is really a much healthier and more productive way of navigating a new way of being. Are you facing any changes now? Has your financial or tax status changed? Do you find yourself suddenly solo parenting your children? Do you need to re enter the workforce or take a different job to make ends meet? Will finances force you to change your living situation? If you're facing big changes, take a deep breath and remember that change is easier and healthier when we take it one step at a time. And we are creatures of habit. Our brains crave routine and pattern. So much so that our brains actually have little pathways carved into them, like a cattle trail in a field, from repetitive thinking. Kind of like that friend or relative who tells you the same thing again and again and again. Death disrupted the old habits and patterns that you had with your partner. And that's very disorienting. Think of it this way: it would be like if you had a road that you always drove to and from your house, and then one day a tree fell over the road. What would you do? Would you drive over the tree? No, you'd have to take a detour. You'd have to find a new way home. It's the same now. One change at a time, you will find ways to live differently so that you can feel comfortable and safe again. You will. I promise you will. I believe in the power of you. But finding your new way home may take a while because your sense of safety was disrupted by the death of your partner. Before you can find a new normal, your brain has to adjust to the fact that you have a new reality. And new realities are scary because they represent new territory. And when we're newly widowed, it's easy to feel abandoned and alone. It can be hard to feel safe when you feel abandoned and alone. To help, I want to lead you in a healing meditation, one that will help you establish a new sense of safety, one that is deep within yourself, so that you can deal with all the grief and possibly the anger and all the changes that are facing you right now. Get comfortable, move around a little bit until you feel like you can relax, and then close your eyes and get ready to deeply relax with this Temple of the Heart meditation. As we begin this Temple of the Heart meditation, I invite you to just leave your eyes gently closed and to leave behind all worry and stress, and just begin to deeply relax. And as you take in gentle, easy breaths, becoming aware of the flow of breath coming into your body and out of your body, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Become aware of your feet on the floor. Press your left foot into the floor and hold, and release. And press your right foot into the floor and hold, and release. And now I invite you to become aware of where your legs are meeting the seat. Just become aware of where your legs are meeting the seat, and be aware of how securely You are being held. You are not in any danger of falling, and you are safe. And now I invite you to take your fingertips and place them on the area just above your navel and just below your rib cage. Now breathe into this space and see if you can push your fingertips away from your body with your breath. And then feel your navel fall back against your spine as you exhale through your mouth. Again, breathing in. Hold this breath. And breathe out through your mouth like you're blowing up a balloon. One more time, breathing in. Hold. And breathing out like you're blowing up a balloon. Now with your mind's eye, direct your next breath into your right lung, filling your lung with breath and exhaling through your mouth. And take another breath into your right lung, filling it with breath and allowing this breath to reach out just beyond your actual body, teasing apart all the muscles and fascia. Exhale gently through your mouth. And with your mind's eye, direct your next breath into your left lung. Fill your lung with breath. Hold this breath. And release this breath through your mouth. Again, direct your breath into your left lung, filling this lung with breath, allowing this breath to reach out beyond your actual body, teasing apart the muscles and fascia. Gently release this breath through your mouth, very slowly. Now with your mind's eye, direct your next breath into the area in the back, in between the shoulder blades, pulling breath up into this often very tense area, and releasing that breath through your mouth. Pulling in the breath in between your shoulder blades, allowing them to slide apart like barn doors, bringing in more breath. And then releasing this breath through your mouth like you're blowing up a balloon. Again, pulling the breath up into this space between your shoulder blades, holding this breath. And then releasing it through your mouth like you're blowing up a balloon. Now direct your next breath to the front of your heart. See the breath entering your heart, and gently exhale through your mouth. And as you bring your next breath up into your heart, allow it to warm and gently expand. And release this breath through your mouth. Now, as you bring in your next breath, begin to see your heart expanding from the left to the right, growing wider. Hold this breath and release it like you're blowing up a balloon. As you bring this next breath into that area of your heart, again, see it expanding from the left to the right, growing warm with oxygen. Hold this breath, and as you release this breath, hold the heart space open as much as you can. Now, as you bring in your next breath, see stone columns rising on the left and the right of this space that you have opened up. Allow the breath to rise with the columns, and then exhale through your mouth. Breathing in again, you see that the space of your heart is opened from left to right, and these stone columns are rising creating a dome at the top of your heart. And release this breath like you're blowing up a balloon while keeping your heart space open. One more time, breathing into this enlarged heart space, feeling the openness, the spaciousness of your heart from left to right and from the bottom to the top. It feels twice as large as it did in the beginning of this meditation. Thank you for watching this video from the 6-part Navigating Loss video series. In video 3, we'll explore how the stresses of widowhood might be impacting your health, and I'll share ways you can heal your body with a proven nutritional strategy that also happens to be easy and inexpensive. Until next time, this is Donna Marie Todd, wishing you hope and healing.